So we're checking out a new design from Remette. And I gotta say, man, these guys are doing a really good job at stepping out of a box and doing it well. So there's one thing when companies do something just, they're so crazy, it's almost obnoxious, because it's like, yeah, it's cool, it's crazy, it's different, but nobody's gonna wanna use that. You know, like that type of thing. But these guys seem to find a way to do a really cool design that's useful and done well. And they've been doing this, you know, across the board on a few different designs. You know, like they have that OTF, the gravity OTF. That's very, you know, innovative, and, you know, it's a completely different style than like the Remette one. This one has this almost like a bird beak Tonto blade, which I have found that this thing is very useful. So if you notice, it kind of transitions up, beautiful swedge, and then it pokes back down, almost like it's clawing down. Then it has this big belly right here before the secondary tip. A very slight recurve right here, a little bit, not much, not very much at all, but okay, I've tried to record this like 20 times. Let's do it again. Okay, so I've noticed cutting with this thing that you either want to use one of two edges. Both of them work really well. Even though this is a very small section of a recurve, that little bit actually lets you do extended cuts very easily. It's very easy to stay in that path, even with long cuts like that. Now, at first I thought I was gonna have to make the long cut like this and then transition to here and then follow it through, which you can do, but it honestly works better if you just pick one or the other. Like I can use just the nose. Look at my piece. I can use just the nose of it like this, or do the little recurve. If I want to mix the both, I can, but there's a little hump to get over. That same hump is what helps keep the material in this little recurve section. So getting over it, it can not bind up, but it can kind of be a thing. So then with utility cuts, this thing is crazy good. Because of it being, like I said, like a bird beak, it just makes it to where you can easily use this thing for utility cuts, tracing things out, whatever you want to do. Like it works really, really well. Which that shows you it's going to be really good at opening things up, you know, where you can use the tip, where you don't have to use the whole edge in order to make a cut. Just using the tip, you'll be able to open things up, you know, do detailing work pretty easily. Normally tips up this high relative to the center of the pivot are not easy to get to. This one's very easy to get to. You do not have to lift your wrist or your elbow all the way up here. You can literally have it all the way down on the table and still do a utility cut. I'm not positive on the steel, but I'm pretty sure it's M390. That's what they've ran on all their other knives. I can't find it labeled anywhere. Anyways, so I'm guessing it's M390. If I'm wrong about that, I'll put it on the screen if I find out before the video goes up. Titanium handle, right? Titanium handle that has titanium inlays. So what they did was they machined out a pocket on the scale, then machined a separate part to insert in there. And there is a couple screws, so it's screwed in here and here on the inside, which makes for a nice bordered, if you look at it, this yellow part, that pops up. That is not flat. It is not level, I should say. It pops up. So you can actually feel the transition around the edge, which is really nice. They did a really good job on the fitment. There's also actually, let me get a really good close look. Yeah, there's a tiny, no, maybe not. I was gonna say there's a gap between the border and the other titanium, but it's perfect all the way around. They did a really good job on that inlay. Very, very good job. It has a floating backspacer. Sorry guys, my camera was all zoomed in. They did a really good job on this inlay. Like there's no seams, the gap around is literally perfect all the way around. So well, very much intentional is my point. The clip is a titanium mill pocket clip. Looks like it's going to work well. It has a nice ramp. Let me just try it really quick. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. Nice spring to it. Backspacer is a floating backspacer. You guys can see that. It's very little, but it is. And then it has a nice lanyard hole back there that's integrated with the backspacer. I always like to see that. Now this action. They did a great job tuning this action, man. The flipper tab lands in a good spot for you to do the light switch. So I would say it's more of a light switcher than a push button, but you can push button it. Yeah, you just get that corner and it'll snap right down. But the light switch seems like that's where it's at. It's just set up for that. But the detent, very good. This is not one that's easy to fail. I'm sure I can fail it, no doubt, but it's not easy. So that's a good detent, right? You don't want it so strong. It depends, right? Some cases you want it so strong that it's impossible not to fail, but especially if it's just tuned to perfection in that way. But in many cases, making sure that it just reliably opens with a tiny bit of intention. You know, and you don't even have to be intentional. You just break the detent, it's going to open. It's great detent. That's my point. Now, the thumb disc thing, this thing works so good for the reverse flick. It literally lands in the perfect spot for a reverse flick. Like your finger just lands right there. It's so easy. Thumb flick is also really good. Problem is you do hit this corner, but they were smart enough to chamfer the edge. So when you hit the corner, it's not like hitting a corner. It actually works pretty good. You can go right here to the corner of the triangle and do it too, which also works really good. But yeah, that reverse flick is super good. Very, very smooth, by the way. Very, very smooth. Now, the hardware over here is a flathead, or that's what I would use. It's just a flathead screw. And you just use any sort of flathead or whatever. It'll work just fine. So I know you're looking at like that's proprietary. It's not. It's just a flathead. And then the rest of it is T6s, it looks like. Yep. So what are my negatives? Because everything, well, let's talk about the ergos. The ergos are really good. Very, very nice in the hand. You see how it has like a pocket and then it cants down right here? That feels really good. It kind of seats the knife a little bit forward, which is the way I prefer it. And because it does that with the handle and then this whole belly section, it's easy to keep your cuts right there in this general area, which actually can probably help you make a little bit longer distance cuts without fear of slipping out because it's just the direction you're cutting. You're not cutting like this where it's more intentional where you're more likely to slip out of a cut. You're actually angled. So, I mean, I'm sure it can, but probably not as easy. But anyways, ergos are really nice. No choil. You can choke up doing over the flipper tab type of deal, but all in all, the looks of it looks really cool. It's very well done, but we got some nitpicks. Let's talk about the nitpicks. One thing is the access to the lock bar is not good. Now, I wouldn't say it was horrible if they put texture right here. I'm not gonna say it's horrible anyways. It would be a lot better if they had texture right here, because what happens is this coating, I think it's a PVD coating, mixed with this blasted finish, it makes it smooth. Right, yeah, around the grip, there's texture to hang on to, so it's not slippery. But once you get to right here and you don't have access cut out and all you have is a little chamfer, it makes you slip. It's slippery. It's just a slippery part. If they put texture right there, it would make it a lot better. The best way to do it would be to cut this bastard back. Just cut it back. Give me access. Open it up. Give me a lot of access. Tons of it. I want as much as possible. Like a Sabenza. That's the way I want it. But anything counts, man. Just cutting this back a little bit gives you access and it'll make it very easy to disengage without fear of slipping off. It's not uncomfortable. It's not bad, but it's slippery. That's my point. The next negative thing is the choil. The choil and plunge grind. This should be backed up as much as possible. Now, I know the only way they could have done that in this case is to move forward the edge. So I understand why they did it this way, and I honestly don't want to complain about this too much because I do understand that they have to make things work, right? I completely get that. And in order for the edge to start here, the plunge grind can't really be behind here because you have the flipper tab there. So I get it. I get it. This one's a little bit tough, but I wish there was a way that they could, I don't know, cut it in just a little bit deeper right here, where like literally just just machine a hole right here to where the edge is separated from the plunge grind. Because when I'm sharpening, right, I'm going to hit this plunge grind. Now, it looks like I got one good sharpening before that'll happen. which is good. So I don't think it's going to get ugly quick, but it's just something I'd prefer. Another thing I really like is the way they did this lock bar. If you look, it looks like it's sweeping this way and then cuts around, because, you know, the inlay's there. I'm sure it just goes straight down, but because of that inlay, it looks like it sweeps around, which matches the blade. It looks really cool. It looks like it was very intentional to, like, for the whole design thing. Now, the inlay also looks good, you know, as far as matching the knife. The clip does not look out of place. It looks like a damn good clip. So everything put together, even the two-toned colors with the yellow and the black, all look really, really good. All the lines are nice. So that definitely stands out to me, and I like that, because, you know, you see a lot of companies, man, they'll do something on a knife and it's like it just looks out of place. It doesn't look right. There's just like something about it that looks odd. And this, not this in this case, this is like every detail matches it's, you know, the design, which I love. Just want to be clear, while I'm recording this, I can't find anything on it. So Remette, it's probably something new that Remette has not dropped yet, but which is fine. That's fine. I'm just, but what I'm trying to say is I don't have the name. I can't tell you the steel, and I can't tell you the price. I'm guessing it's M390 though. So let's just say it's M390. And like I said, I probably already wrote it on the screen. But anyways, my point about saying that is I don't know the price. So since I do not know the price, I don't know how to judge it. I'm going to tell you what I think it should be. How about that? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you what I see here in money. How much money do I see here if this is M390? So, considering everything I said, I would say that I would want to spend about $170, maybe $189 to $190 for this thing. I think that it sits right there in that area, considering it has a blasted finish. This is not a stone wash. This is not a satin, so that's a little bit more of a budget-friendly finish. The handle, everything's gorgeous. Everything's well done. You know, everything lines up really good. So great work, you know. So I don't see it being like something that's going to be like $120, right? It definitely stands out from the $120, $130 price range from most companies. But when I think about the competition and everything that's out there, I would say it's sitting right there at that $180 mark. And if they can hit it there, or give or take a little bit, right? If it's a little tiny bit more, okay. If it's a little tiny bit less, great, right? But that's what I see here. Now, watch, it could be like $220, $250. If it's like $200, okay. But if it winds up being $220 or more, then I'm going to say it's overpriced. So just know that right away. If you find a link to it, because I'll probably hopefully have a link by the time this goes up. So if you see the link and you look at the price and that's what it says, I'm saying it's overpriced. But like I said, $200 or under, I'm pretty happy. I'm a little more happier at 180 than 200, because it is a great knife. I could add the texture here myself, but man, I really wish they would have put texture there and cut back this damn lock bar. It's so important to me. That's something that Remette needs to understand. One thing that does make a high quality knife, and I'm not saying they don't know this, I'm saying this to any company, right? Any company. The ease is what's important. What do I mean by that? The ease of disengagement, the ease of engagement. You know, how comfortable is the flipper? How reliable does it work? The ease of opening, right? You want that. That's what premium knives have. Now, just like opening, and they have that down pat, don't get me wrong, that's perfect. The ease of closing is the second part. How is the ease of closing? It's easy to close, but it's slippery. So that would take a point off. Also, there's not a lot of access to it, which also makes it slippery. So that would take off the ease. There's no ease of it. I have to actually concentrate and think about it when I'm doing it. Is it hard? Is it difficult? No, but it could be better. They didn't Loctite mine. They'll probably Loctite the other ones, I'm sure, but mine was not Loctited, so my pivot is coming out. I'm not calling that a negative or anything. I don't care about that. I can just throw Loctite on it. I got it right next to me. But the next thing with ease, the pocket clip. Ease of going in and out of the pocket. Super smooth. We don't want to hit a wall. We don't want it to jump. We don't want it to catch on the way out. We want it to be nice and smooth in and out, not destroying our pockets. Especially if we have a decent pair of jeans on. You don't want to start tearing up your pockets like your nice pants or your work pants, right? So those things, man, if companies can just hit those things, like that makes a knife stand out as a quality knife. They intentionally tried to make it a great user-friendly knife to the person that's going to be spending their hard-earned money. All in all, they did a really good job on it. I do like it. I like it quite a bit. I think Remette's doing a killer job. I think Remette has a super strong future ahead of them. I can't doubt that at all. I think some companies are going to have to start watching out. And I really, truly mean that. Remette coming in as hot as they've came the past couple months, if they continue this for the next year, these guys are going to be competing against some heavy-duty hitters out here. No doubt, especially if they take the little criticisms, you know, that reviewers say. If you take them to heart and start, you know, fixing those little tiny things, which isn't much. It is not much. But the companies that do listen versus the companies that don't do wind up moving faster. Anyways, there you guys go. Work hard, stay tough. Until next time, peace.